Hello, and welcome to Watches Rated, where we methodically review the most exciting watches on a 100-point scale so that you can make the best informed decision when purchasing your next watch. Each watch we review is evaluated across 4 primary criteria: design, construction, movement, and other factors. Each category is then broken down into 5 subcategories to provide a precise analysis of what makes a good, great, or truly exceptional watch. Today, we're diving into a modern classic from Tudor, the Black Bay 41mm with a Burgundy bezel, which is reference M79230R. The Black Bay is an interesting model. While it draws heavily on Tudor's diving heritage, it stands apart with its unique aesthetic and high-quality in-house movement. Often overshadowed by its more famous sibling, the Rolex Submariner, the Tudor Black Bay has carved out its own identity, with a distinctive style and a price point that makes it accessible to a broader audience. With its 41mm stainless steel case, iconic snowflake hands, and an in-house caliber MT5602 movement, the Black Bay 41mm is a watch that demands attention, so let's see how it performs in our review. The overall score I gave this watch is 85.5 points out of 100, which in the $2,000 to $3,000 range is an excellent score. I think Tudor has made a fantastic watch here. As you can see, as we'll see later on in the interview, this watch is extremely well built. It's simple but elegant, and it also has really good specs from its movement to its waterproof resistances. So you are getting a lot of bang for your buck here. And so even though it only scored 85.5 out of 100 points, that is excellent for the price point that we're talking here, which is sub 3,000. Used, these go for about $2,000, so that's a great score. So to begin the review, I'm going to just take this out quickly and throw it on my wrist, because that's where it belongs. Putting on the Tudor Black Bay 41mm, you see here, has a great wrist presence on my 7.5 inch wrist. So you can see I've had it adjusted here, and it has this great clasp on the bottom here that has Tudor's typical shield logo. The whole thing is made of a shield logo, and then it is secured by a safety clasp right there. This is a distressed leather band, which I actually really enjoy in this watch, but other people use a stainless steel brand. So to begin, the Tudor Black Bay features a 41mm case crafted from 316L stainless steel, with a case design that draws heavily from Tudor's historic dive watches from the 1950s, with its classic round shape and robust construction. The polished bevels on the lugs, as you can see here, they are brushed essentially, and then we have polishing on the side here, really provide a beautiful contrast against the brushed surfaces, and it gives the watch a refined yet sporty elegance and appearance. The mid case has a subtle curvature that helps it sit comfortably on the wrist. So you can see here, it's really curved well and hugs the wrist. And it makes sure that it sits really comfortable on your wrist. And even though it's a pretty robust watch, it's pretty thick, it doesn't feel overall that it is going to slide around at all. At 14.8mm in thickness, as you can see here, it's definitely not an insubstantial watch at all. The Black Bay 41mm has a solid wrist presence that can border on feeling bulky. However, I think the overall design strikes a balance between ruggedness and elegance. The lugs have a width of 22mm, which pairs perfectly with the included bracelet or strap and can be swapped with many third-party strap options. Also, the chamfered edges on the case are polished to a mirror finish. As you can see here, they reflect everything. And there's not that many scratches on here either, which is pretty good for me. And I think that really adds a nice touch of sophistication to an otherwise utilitarian tool watch design. In terms of the dial, I usually talk about the color, pattern, indices, hands, and chaptering. The dial of the Black Bay 41mm is, I think, one of the standout features. As you can see here, it is a matte black with a gilt color, chapter ring and indices and lettering. So it definitely pulls a lot of vintage charm that is reminiscent of Tudor's earlier dive watches. The large applied hour markers and snowflake hands, which has been an iconic Tudor design element since the 1960s, are also coated with superluminova, ensuring excellent legibility in low light conditions. And the markers themselves are outlined in gold, which not only adds a luxurious touch, but I think also enhances the dial's legibility while maintaining a vintage aesthetic. The absence of a date window is a deliberate choice here that I think is perfect because it maintains the dial's symmetry and clean design. A lot of vintage watches did not have a date window. That was something that developed much later on. And so seeing a watch that clearly has vintage, a vintage calling back to those prior designs, but also doing it faithfully by not reinserting a date window is great. And I think this minimalist design overall, pays homage to the original Tudor dive watches, and creates a really timeless and uncluttered look. You also see here that the chapter ring and indices on the perimeter of the dial also feature minute markers and gilt. So again, it's just really keeping with that vintage aesthetic, and similar coloring throughout. As you can see here, the hands and everything else just really shine well, and just has that vintage look. But again, this is a modern watch with all the modern trappings. And in terms of the strap and the bracelet, as you can see here, the Tudor offers the Black Bay 41mm with several different strap options, including a riveted steel bracelet, which I have on my other Tudor here. So this is my chronograph Tudor. As you can see, it has these riveted styles and a very similar shield logo. So, different options for straps. You can go with any of them on the Burgundy dial Black Bay, but I really actually enjoy, given that it has these gold gilded hands and dial and, vintage aesthetic, no date window. I really think the, vintage leather look of this bracelet fits a little bit better than what this would. But these watches are essentially the same, so I could just swap this one over to here. I haven't tried it yet, but maybe I'll give it a try with my trusty tool over here someday. Comfort-wise, the bracelet is well engineered with solid end links, and this one, as you can see, has a sturdy folding clasp with a safety catch. Both of them do, even this leather version here. So whatever strap option you are choosing, you're getting a very sturdy option. I really think it just comes down to what aesthetic you want, right? Do you want the riveted, solid end link style? Do you want this more vintage style? There's also a NATO strap if you really like NATO straps. So whatever you choose, I don't think you can go wrong, but it's definitely, something to consider when you're buying this. And also just to mention, I'll mention this later, but this is the older version of the Black Bay 41mm Burgundy dial. There is a newer version that came out earlier this year, which has a newer movement in it, and also comes with a newer bracelet, which has a micro adjustment slot. So the only gripe I have about this older version of this bracelet I have here on the chronograph is that there is no micro adjustments, really. I mean, you have these 3 micro adjustments here, but you can't do it quick. They're not quick micro adjustments. On the newer version of this bracelet, which you can get on this newer version of this watch, does have a micro adjustment that you can do on the fly. It's called the T-Fit clasp, and it allows for quick micro adjustments through a spring-based movement, through a spring-based clasp. So if you want to spend a little bit more money, you can always opt for that as well. In terms of the bezel here, going back to the original watch, the bezel of the Tudor Black Bay 41mm is a striking feature with this burgundy anodized aluminum insert. As you can see here, it is a deep red. That's just really fantastic. I think the color gives the watch a distinctive character, making it instantly recognizable among other dive watches. The unidirectional rotating bezel, which I will play here, and as you can see, it's very easy to use. It's very satisfying, but it's not super loud, but it's definitely very clear. The unidirectional rotating bezel is designed to prevent accidental adjustments during dives. Features 60-minute graduations, as you can see here. So it is actually useful in a diving situation if you ever want to take this watch diving, although obviously you wouldn't do it with this leather strap that I have on right now. And it's definitely really easy to read and turn. Bezel action is firm and offers a reassuring click with each rotation, as you just heard, and it gives a really tactile and satisfying feel. Some may find that the bezel action is slightly stiff compared to some other dive watches, compared to like a Psycho Sumo perhaps, but I think that's really just a consideration depending on your personal preference. For me, I really find this to have a pretty good movement overall, especially just given that I'm not going to be using this for diving anyhow, so it's probably fine. I also think one other criticism here is that they did use a anodized aluminum bezel, which is keeping with the vintage vibes of the watch. That's what Rolex and Tudor were using for decades before Rolex started using ceramic bezels, and now most modern dive watches in the upper echelons of the industry, such as the Omega Seamaster, they use ceramic bezels as well. So this is a little bit older style. Luckily I haven't hit it or dinged it yet, so there's no damage here, but that's just something to keep in mind, is that you are getting a vintage inspired watch here, And with that vintage inspiration comes some drawbacks, such as having a anodized aluminum bezel, but that also keeps the cost down. So, there's some trade-offs there. In terms of originality, the Tudor Black Bay is a masterclass, in my opinion, in how to pay, homage to a brand's heritage while creating something fresh and modern. The design cues of this watch are clearly skewed towards the vintage side of Tudor's archives, right? It has the snowflake hands that it has had for decades now. It has the iconic rose engraved into the crown guard over here. And so I think it's unmistakably a vintage Tudor, yet this is not merely a reissue of an older watch, right? It's a thoughtfully reimagined piece that incorporates modern materials and technology, such as the in-house caliber movement, and a pretty high quality aluminum bezel insert that I think shows that Tudor was trying to toe the line between having a vintage inspiration, but also using newer technology, newer materials to also just modernize the movement overall. I think the balance between vintage inspiration and contemporary execution makes the Black Bay 41mm a standout in its category by offering a unique blend of old school charm and new age watchmaking that is hard to find elsewhere, especially, with most catalogs having some pretty deep vintage inspirations. I think Tudor really looked back at what they used to offer and what they could still offer today. In terms of overall construction, I gave the construction of the watch 21.5 points out of 25 points. The overall build quality of the Tudor Black Bay 41mm is exceptional. I'm just going to pop it off here so we can play around with it a little bit. But I think, it really reflects Tudor's commitment to offering, really well-made watches at, fair prices. So again, this watch retails for, between $2,000 to $3,000, towards the bottom end of that. And I think as we go through the review, you'll see that that's pretty good bang for the buck of what you're paying to get here. The 316L stainless steel case is finished to a really high standard. As I mentioned before, you have brushed lugs here, you have highly polished sides on both sides here, and there's just some dirt over there that's not even a scratch yet. I haven't really worn this too much yet, but as you can see, it's very highly polished, and I think it just, the contrast between the brushed look on the front and then the polished sides on the side just creates a really nice contrast that helps develop the watch a little bit. Especially on your wrist, you end up seeing it reflect on your wrist a little bit when you see the side of your watch, and so kind of reminds you that you're wearing it, which is really nice. In terms of other parts of the watch that I look at in terms of overall quality, the dial itself is clearly flawless. It has cleanly applied hour markers, perfectly aligned chapter ring, and an immaculately printed Tudor logo and the credentials down below, which you can see here pretty clearly. The hands, especially the iconic snowflake hour hand, are well finished and polished, and the seconds hand is really cleanly applied as well. The luminescence on the hands and markers is also bright because it is super luminova and evenly applied, which is something that you always look at. You can see that all of the dots are filled in the same amount. So it offers excellent nighttime visibility, but also has that vintage patina almost look to it. In terms of materials, the Black Bay 41mm is constructed from 316L stainless steel, which is obviously, renowned for its resistance to corrosion and wear. The bezel insert, as I mentioned, is made from anodized aluminum, which gives a vintage aesthetic and pretty good durability, though it's definitely not as scratch resistant as ceramic. But as I mentioned before, this choice is definitely in line with the vintage theme that they're going for here, so we can give them a pass. On the top of the watch is sapphire crystal, which covers the dial. Obviously, sapphire crystal is scratch resistant, and this one is also slightly domed, just ever so slightly, and AR coated, so you don't get a lot of reflections out of this, and it's definitely very visible and easy to read, no matter how sunny or bright out it is, or if you're looking at it from an angle. You can obviously, see pretty easily here that the time is very easy to see, no matter where you're looking. In terms of resistances, the Tudor Black Bay offers a water resistance of 200 meters, which I think is great. Most watches, even modern watches today, the standard is 30 meters, maybe 100 meters. It really is rarer and rarer to see 200 meter non-dive watches, right? So even though this is a dive watch, it's not really, designated as a dive watch. Most people are using Omegas or, Pelagos is probably the Tudor Pelagos would be what I would think of as a dive watch. I mean, this just happens to be a dive watch, but it has a ton of water resistance, which is great. You can use it. You can go swimming in this, 200 meters, no problem. And so the 200 meters here does make it suitable for recreational diving, swimming, and other water activities. While it doesn't match the 300-meter depth rating of some other dive watches, such as the Omega Seamaster, I think it's more than adequate for most recreational purposes here. The in-house MT5602 movement is also equipped with a silicone balance spring, which provides enhanced resistances to magnetic fields, which is a significant benefit in today's environment where exposure to magnetic fields is pretty common. The watch's construction also provides good shock resistance with a sturdy case, as you can see, and solid components designed to withstand daily wear and more active use. As you can see here, it also has a closed case back, so this thing is just hermetically sealed, and definitely can take a beating. However, for those, if you're going out there though and you're, doing like, crazy activities or, rock climbing or mountain biking, I think there might be some other options out in the market that offer more specialized resistances than this, but for your desk to your day job to, swimming in the lake or something, this watch can do it all, and you won't have to take it off your wrist. In terms of the ancillaries here, the screw-down crown is adorned with the Tudor Rose logo, as you can see here. That's engraved and filled in. And I really like the crown here because it's very easy to grip. As you can see, it's pretty oversized, even for my large hand. And so it's easy to grip. It has very deep knurls, as you can see. So I like that. Some other watches, it just seems like they think of their crown last, or sometimes they don't think of the crown at all. And so it doesn't really feel like the watch was made with, people, playing with it or turning it. Here, they obviously made some very clear choices with the oversized crown. And also, the part that I love is this insert here that matches the anodized aluminum here. It's a nice little touch, completely unnecessary, doesn't really serve much of a purpose, but really nice to see. So moving down a little bit to talk about the movement here, the Black Bay 41mm is powered by Tudor's in-house caliber MT5602, which is a self-winding mechanical movement with a 70-hour power reserve. The movement is COSC certified. As you can see, it says officially certified chronometer, which means it meets very strict Swiss chronometer standards for precision and accuracy. The MT5602 is known for its reliability, robustness, and build quality, and it features a bidirectional rotor system that efficiently winds the mainspring both clockwise and counterclockwise. The use of an in-house movement at this price point is impressive, and I think reflects Tudor's commitment to vertical integration and quality control. The MT5602 is also equipped with a silicone balance spring, as I mentioned earlier, which provides excellent resistance to magnetic fields and really enhances the long-term reliability of the watch. In addition, the newer model of the Black Bay Burgundy does include a newly revamped in-house caliber, which is the MT5602U, which comes with an additional METAS, METAS certification, which raises the movement from a COSC chronometer to a more accurate and independently tested master chronometer. While not a significant upgrade, the upgraded movement in the newer version is Tudor's first master chronometer movement, and at under $5,000 from the newer model of this, it's significantly cheaper than other brands sporting METAS's seal of approval, such as the Omega Seamaster, which starts at above $5,000. So just something to consider. Again, you can pick these up pretty cheap, sub $3,000 now. The newer version, slightly more expensive, but you're definitely getting a much better movement that's been independently tested. So if you care about that thing, if you care about stuff like that, definitely consider that as an option. In terms of complications, obviously this is not a very complicated watch, right? The Black Bay 41mm is a time-only watch, meaning that it lacks additional complications like a date display, chronograph, GMT function, moon phase, literally anything. While this might disappoint some enthusiasts that are looking for more functionality or are, chasing a certain complication, I think it does align with the watch's minimalist design ethos and reinforces its tool watch character, which, again, even though I don't think of this as a dive watch in my daily lexicon, this was meant to be a dive watch. It's always been a dive watch. So, I think, the time-only display, while it might not be the most helpful for your daily wearing style, I think, this watch does exactly what you need to do. The lack of complications also contributes to the watch's clean dial and easy readability, making it a practical choice for everyday wear. The simplicity of the design ensures that the watch remains versatile, suitable for both casual and formal settings. In terms of accuracy, the in-house movement is adjusted to perform within COSC standards, which ensures an accuracy of -4 to +6 seconds per day. In my experience, my Black Bay 41mm maintained a remarkable accuracy of +2 seconds a day, which is exceptional for a mechanical watch. That would put it in the METAS category if it was certified, but it's not. But that's really great, again, for this price point. The chronometer performance is definitely consistent with what I would expect. In terms of power reserve, I think that's one part that this movement, even though you can't even see the movement and it's not the most impressive in-house movement, the power reserve is great. So with a 70-hour power reserve, the Black Bay offers a longer reserve than most of its competitors, such as most Breitling Super Oceans, which have 38 hours, or the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meter, which has about 60 hours of power reserve. So this extended power reserve allows the watch to run for nearly 3 days without needing to be wound or worn, which is particularly convenient for those who rotate their watches regularly, or you bring this on vacation with you, you put it down for a couple days, you pick it back up, it's still going to be running. While it doesn't match the extended power reserves of some higher end models, such as Blancpain's Caliber 1315 with 5 days of power reserve, it is more than adequate for most users and a significant upgrade over many entry-level mechanical watches. In terms of finishing and design, the MT5602 movement is unfortunately not visible through the case back, but it does have some pretty good decorations once you do get this open. So Tudor has ensured that the movement is finally finished, reflecting the price point that you are paying here. So there is pretty good attention to detail that's evident in the perlage and Coast de Genève decorations on the rotor and the bridges. The rotor is adorned with a Tudor logo and is decorated with the sunray brushing, which gives it a refined appearance even if it's hidden from view here, but it definitely still skews towards the tool watch style of being, the sandblasted, brushed look overall that I think, while it might look industrial to some, I think keeps up with the ethos of Tudor, being a vintage-inspired tool watch that isn't necessarily as flashy as its bigger brother, the Rolex Submariner. In terms of other factors I looked at, the watch overall got 21 points out of 25 points here. First off, I usually look at the price, right? So brand new, this watch goes for $37.25. It definitely doesn't go for that anymore because of the newer version that's out now. But even at the old price range, at the full price range, I think it offered a pretty good value. It offers an in-house movement, high quality materials, and a design that's both versatile and distinctive. On the secondary market, it retains a significant portion of its value, but like I said, you can get these in between the $2,000 to $3,000 range. I think I picked up mine for about $2,200, which is a great deal at the time. So if you see these, you should grab one. But again, while it does lose some money on the secondary market, I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck here. The updated version of the Black Bay Burgundy costs slightly more. It starts at around $4,500. But again, that comes with the updated in-house movement with METAS certification. And on the stainless steel version, it comes with a new strap with the T-clasp, the T-fit clasp. And so if you're looking for the newer version of this watch, I still think it's a good value. In terms of warranty, Tudor offers a 5-year warranty on the Black Bay 41mm, which is transferable, which is great, and does not require any registration or periodic maintenance checks. I think that's an excellent offering in the luxury watch market, as many brands still offer only 2-year warranties. To me, it's kind of offensive when you buy like a $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 watch, even $20,000 watch, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. I mean, it just doesn't scream that they're very confident in what they're selling. And so for Tudor to come out and offer 5-year warranties on all their watches, no matter which watch you're buying, including, like my other watch here, the chronograph, I think it's just really great to show that, you're confident in the watch that you're creating, and that you stand behind it. In terms of presentation, as you saw at the beginning of the video, the Black Bay comes in a sturdy, well-crafted presentation box that is both functional and aesthetically pleasing. The box also includes the usual documentation, including a COSC certification and the warranty card. And while the presentation is not overly luxurious, I think it is consistent with the watch's overall theme of rugged elegance. So that's the review. Overall, again, 85.5 points out of 100. As you can see, the Tudor Black Bay 41mm, which is reference 79230R, is an outstanding timepiece that successfully blends vintage styling with modern watchmaking. Its solid construction, attractive design, and reliable in-house movement make it a fantastic option for anyone looking for a versatile, stylish, and well-built watch that doesn't want to break the bank. While there are some minor areas for improvement, such as the clasp micro-adjustment options and maybe a higher level of water resistance, I think the Black Bay 41mm remains a compelling choice for both new collectors and seasoned enthusiasts. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Again, this is the Black Bay 41mm Burgundy bezel version. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Please make sure to follow my Instagram and YouTube channels for more watch content, and hope to see you again soon. Thanks.